Okay, this is another exercise, and then also this exercise we're going to use for loop, but also we're going to use an if statement as well. Okay, so let's take a look over here at this problem. Okay, so this one says write a program whose input is 2 integers. So I need to ask the user for 2 integers, just like this example here. The user input the first one, and then you input the second integer. Okay, and the output and the program should output first and subsequent of 10 as long as the value is less than or equal to the second integer. Okay, so that being said, if I input negative 15 and 30, so the output should be negative 15, negative 10, 5, 5, 15, 25. Okay, so increase it by 10. Also, the question says if the user entered the first number, the second integer, in this program, it will tell you the second integer cannot be less than the first integer. Okay, so you cannot switch these two numbers. It should give you an error. So your program should check that. Okay, so let's go ahead first and ask the user to input numbers. Okay, so number 1, I'm going to call it again integer, and then I'm going to say input, enter the first number, and then I'm going to have another I'm going to say input the second number, or enter the second number, So now I get the 2 numbers right now from the user. Okay, before I start to print out their output, I want to check if these numbers are in the right order. Okay, so I'm going to have an if statement. I'm going to say if num2 less than num1, I'm going to tell the user this is not correct. I'm going to say second number cannot be less than the first one. Okay, right here I'm going to say the second number. Okay, so that means we found a problem over here. Okay, else that means if we get the numbers in nice, like the first one was less than the second one, that means I'm going to try to print out the result out to be like that. Okay, so I'm going to use a for loop, and in the for loop also I'm going to use the range function. So I'm going to say for I, for example, n range. Take a look at the range over here. The range is going to say start from number 1, stop at, this I mean all the way to number 2. So to include number 2, I'm going to say +1, and the step by 10. So increase it by 10 every time. Okay, so in this case, once if I do something like that, I'm going to say just print what? Print the number which is I, but be careful. I want to make sure I, for example, I can do it this way. I can say I, make I string, convert it to string, okay, and I want to make them at the same line, and here it is. Okay, let's run the program, input the first number. I'm going to input negative 15 and 30. Here's the output. Okay, let me switch them. Let's see what's going to happen. If I say 30 and then negative 15, the second number cannot be less than the first one. And that's the program here. Very simple. I ask the user for numbers, I get them 2, then I check. If the second one less than the first one, that's it. Say you cannot have the second less than the first. else, that means the first is less than the second, I'm going to use this simple for statement with the range starting from the number first one, stop at the second one plus 1, and step by 10. And that's it.